Greetings to all of you. I can't say Inkulab Zindabad, Viplavam Jaikate. There is a Delhi High Court which recently ruled Inkulab Zindabad is seditious. I begin to wonder whether members of the judiciary really understand the history of this country. Inkulab Zindabad was not something a communist slogan. In 1920s, this was sung in almost all public platforms. Bhagat Singh in every stage said Inkulab Zindabad. Congress party followed it. Muslim League followed it. Communist party used the slogan. Now how could some members of the judiciary can say that it is seditious? They did not even stop with that. They even said it is not a mere slogan. It is like the French Revolution where the head of the monarchies have been simply chopped off and therefore they refused bail for a student leader in Delhi. Now we are in a very critical stage. We are celebrating the 1st November, the formation of the Keraleeyam. The month of November is a very sacred month. It is on 7th November, the great October Revolution took place in Russia. That inspired the working class of all over the world to stand united. The famous Marx slogan that workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose except your chains, became the slogan of the working class, and the working class of India, and more particularly the working class of Kerala, has always taken the slogan forward. Our Prime Minister keeps on saying, Vasudeva Kudumbakam, but they don't mean that. They divide this country in the name of religion, in the name of several factors, they divide this country. But it is the working class which talked about an international solidarity. The working class of India and also Kerala have always fought for the liberation of Cuba, Vietnam, Korea, South Africa, Rhodesia, every country that we have stood for. In fact, in few days later, there is a solidarity rally for Palestine. Why do we think that the workers are not confined to one particular area? This is something, the contribution of the working class in this country for a true international spirit that we should continue to maintain, notwithstanding some chauvinist element who are trying to divide this country into several religious zones. Therefore, this Keraleeyam, which is a very important festival, in fact, when I came, I found the whole Kerala completely in gaiety, completely in a festive mode. Even before Diwali, we are having a new Diwali in this place. But on the eastern side of the mountain, where I am coming from, Tamil Nadu, there is no such upheaval, there is no such feeling. You may understand, when in 1956, India was constituted a different state on linguistic basis. It was a very progressive move not taken by the new rulers. It was in 1930s, even in the Congress platform, that in the future India, the states will be formed on language basis so that the language grows and the state also grows. It is that way. But somehow the people of Tamil Nadu do not cherish the 1st November and there is no celebration. But I feel that 1st November constituted a very significant part where people belonging to different language, they were able to form a government so that the language develops, their literature develops, and the country also develops. And Kerala proved it to be a very important milestone on 1st. When it comes to working class, in 1947, there was no Kerala. In 1950, we had only Travancore and Cochin, and Malabar was with Madras. All these three parts became one on 1st November 1956. And therefore, for the first time, the Malayalis, the Keraleeyam was able to have an identity based on their language and also a development. But there is also historical factors that the south and the north and the central Travancore were not the same. The industries were not many, and the industries were also mostly agro-based. And therefore, to bring the working class into a single fold, to form them into a organization to develop Kerala became an important task because the British did not leave much of the legacy in starting industries in this area, except in some places in Kochi and Malabar. And therefore, when you talk about workers' right, you will have to think what is the contribution of Kerala. I am not going to speak about workers' right and the welfare of Kerala alone. Kerala has contributed to the development of working class of all over India. 1956, when the state was formed, for the first time, the workers and the peasants of this country was asked, what kind of a government you want? They selected Nambudiripat government in 1957. A left government was selected for the first time in the world on an elected basis. And therefore, the working class of the Kerala told the world that we want a worker leadership in this country. And that is the first message that you sent across. Though the government might not have been lasted long, thanks to the dismissal of the government, but nevertheless, the first message was that the workers can govern a country, govern a place, and also bring a progressive legislation. In fact, the first EMS government brought several reforms. I will not describe because the time is very limited, but mainly the legislation that has been made is in a progressive direction where in the field of education, the teachers of Kerala today have several rights thanks to the Kerala Education Act that was brought in. And that became main reason for sending out the government also. Notwithstanding the fact that the law was upheld by the Supreme Court. The first injustice in India was done to Kerala where an elected government was dismissed. The working class also realized not only to elect the government, we got to defend the government. We got to defend the leadership. And therefore, from time to time, we had elected leadership of left leadership in this country, unlike other states in India. So the lesson was that in this country must have a direction. And that direction could be only on the left side. In fact, Justice Krishna is always used to say in a very later when keeping left is always right. He always used to say that. I'm wondering, what is the contribution of Kerala to labor law? As I began by saying, not many industries, not many highly industrial state, but nevertheless, Kerala contributed three different directions. The first was they elected a worker government and sending the message that the future of India lies only in this direction. The second was number of leaders who are from this region and they did not confine to their own home, their own village or their own city, they moved out. The entire South India, why South India, entire even some North, many leaders of the working class came from Kerala. Therefore, it is something like you send leadership to other places to make them conscious of their own rights. I am very proud to say that the Madras has got a very good working class movement thanks to the leadership of people who came from Kerala, especially from North Malabar. And therefore, this is the second contribution that the Kerala gave to other side of India. And this slowly starting out. The third was the standards of wages. The wages that have been fixed all over India. You take the entire South. The wage packet of the workers, especially plantation, cashew, rubber, the agro-based industries, all this, the minimum wage, the wage by which the working class can live, the first wage fixation, which is slightly higher than other places, gave rise to movements in other states where people started demanding, we want like Kerala. Kerala became a slogan, not only for Kerala, for all the people in this country, that we want like Kerala, we want wages. And I know in many wage negotiations, we used to show the estate wage of Kerala to get estate wages in Tamil Nadu. And third important thing is it is not write laws. Laws are merely papers. Laws are in statute book. It is not what is written in the statute book. It is what the judges say. So the Kerala gave Justice Krishna to this judiciary, and Krishna proved that even as a one person sitting in the highest court in India, he is able to give a direction to the labor legislation. He is one man who proved by legal engineering that you can take the country, you can take the working class to a higher heights even on legal forum. It is not as if working class is only begging or working class is only fighting. The working class has got a right rooted into the statutes of this country, and it is only require a judge to apply his mind correctly. It is in that sense Justice Krishna Iyer has contributed. In fact, Krishna Iyer's words, written in golden words, which can be quoted again and again. In fact, we were inspired in our practice, in our judgeship, only by Justice Krishna Iyer. He was the one man who is able to show the direction how the judiciary in this country must take its place. In fact, he always used to say, to hit below the belt by trading legal phrases is not an industrial law. What he meant is, it is just not the law. He also said the life of law is not logic but the life itself. And you must read page and page of Krishna Iyer where the existing laws had a new direction. Of course, time to time we have few Krishna Iyers in the judiciary. Now you will find the latest, you take the Industrial Disputes Act. It was written in 1947. 76 years have gone. Even now, we are struggling. What is the meaning of the word industry? What is the meaning of the word industrial dispute? Even after 76 years, it's a shame for this country that the workers don't have a specific law and keep on fighting in courts, court after court, starting from labor court, high court, Supreme Court, and forever. Supreme Court is only one court. But then what happens today? In 1956, Justice Chandrasekharan Nair, who went from here to Supreme Court, gave a wonderful judgment that the industry has got a wider meaning in the Nagpur City Corporation case, 1956. In 1978, Justice Krishna Iyer, sitting in a 7-judge bench, said industry means it's only not a very contrived meaning, it should be a wider meaning, meant for a larger purpose. That Bangalore water supply case even today holds the field. Thereafter, 2 amendments have come in the parliament. They are not able to change the Krishna Iyer's interpretation. But then within the judiciary, you have different forces. Krishna Iyer always used to say, there is one building in Delhi, in Tilak Marg, called Supreme Court, but within that there are 34 Supreme Court. So in 2005, this judgment was doubted, sent to 5-judge bench, then 7-judge bench, now 9-judge bench. When will the 9-judge bench meet? 17 years have gone. Now next month they are meeting to decide whether Krishna Iyer is right or wrong. It may go anyway, that is different. But what I am saying is that the working class need not only fight in the fields, in the factories, it has to fight in the legal forum also, because it's more important. Whatever gain that they make in the field has to be strengthened by legal verdict. Therefore, it is important that the judiciary we have certain say in the matter. Now, if you find what is the role of the central government, unfortunately, after independence in the constitution, central government also dabbles on labor map. The states have advanced so much. Many states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala have made very progressive legislation. Now central government thinks of bringing a central law, replacing all this. Our legislation is 100 years old. Now where is the question of changing this? Now by one stroke, they want to tell all the states, now I will be the ruler and not you. I will dictate what is labor law and what is your. And therefore, now there are 4 courts before you, passed by the parliament without much discussion. After 2 years, it has not been notified. Maybe Modi is waiting for the election to be over. They know the strength of the working class. If it is notified, they may lose substantially the votes. Therefore, they are keeping quiet. But whether they keep quiet or move ahead with the labor code, we should find out one thing. That is the right of the working class determined by the state or by the center. Under the constitutional scheme, over the period, it was the right of the state to regulate the labor legislation. Now you try to take over. Is it for good or bad? As I mentioned, Kerala has got a greatest minimum wage. Now the present amendment, the present wage code, what it says, that the central government will fix the floor wage. That means they will take over all the right that has been won over the period, and then finally say, I will call the shots and not you. Now we have seen this. And what is the response of the judiciary? We have seen during COVID pandemic, the migrant workers, they were just thrown all over. Now the migrant workers are entitled to go back to their own state. The Interstate Migrant Act says that the employer should pay money, but the central government refused to run rails. They were charging the state government to pay rail fares, notwithstanding the fact it is the obligation of the employer to pay money to go back. And then they stopped running the rails. And Kerala showed the way how to keep the migrant workers, how to maintain them, how to get over the crisis. And Kerala is a model. Now what did the Supreme Court do? What about the workers without wages? Simply asked to go away. The law is very clear. If you deny work, you will have to pay wage. Somebody went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said pay wages. Within 2 weeks they said, no, it is a wrong order. What did they do? Go to the labor commissioner, have a negotiated settlement. And therefore we find, on the one hand, there is an over-centralization of the legislation. On the other hand, we have a judiciary which has got very little sensitivity on the workers' issue. And therefore, we find all kinds of judgments keeping coming. And what is the final way out for the workers? In fact, 1969, when EMS Namboodiripad conducted a press meet in the press club here, he was the chief minister. Somebody asked him, how do you explain your government? He said, we have no illusions that in every state, every country, the economic factors determine the state and the judiciary. There is nothing like an independent judiciary. He said it is subject to the economic interests of this country, which means the interests of Tatas and Birlas of those days, or the Adanis and Ambanis of these days. When I say this, they will issue contempt. They issued a contempt against just EMS Namboodiripad. EMS Namboodiripad told the Supreme Court that I only said what Marx have said. Karl Marx said that no system can be superior than the economic system, and therefore they are subordinate to the system, whether it is judiciary or government or parliament. Now they punished him. They also wrote that EMS Namboodiripad doesn't know Marxism. Where do they get it? I do not know. And then what is that they are trying to aim at? Is there a classless government that we are having? Is there a classless judiciary that we are having? And therefore we should try to understand, when we talk about workers' right, when we talk about workers' welfare, it's at a very limited extent. We have no illusion that we will have honey and milk flowing in the streets. We are trying to do as best as possible within this sphere, within the structural limitation that has been given. But there are two constraints. The first is the central government, which is out to finish this working class. In fact, I need not have much time. I'll tell you only two things. When Kannan Devan estate, which was given away by the Tatas and they ran away, that was sought to be run by the government, and the judiciary puts a spoke into that. That is a long back. Today you find the airport in Thiruvananthapuram. Why not Kerala government run it? The land belongs to them. The land was acquired for the airport at a great strain by the government. And now the Supreme Court says, no, sorry, we won't give it to you. And therefore you find it is not our job only to work and earn. It is also our right to govern this country. And therefore let us not have illusions that by earning our wages we are happy and getting more wage. Even to earn more wage, even to get more rights, we should have a determination. We should have a participation. We should have a control over the state. Otherwise, the working class will be losing. And this is what this government is trying to prove. This is what the essence of Keraleeyam. The 1st November 1956 is a date on which we have resolved that we will decide to govern our own future and we will not allow anybody else to exploit us, anybody else to govern us. This is the most important message that we should have this conference, and I wish that this is emulated everywhere, notwithstanding 1st November or not. The November is a sacred month for the working class, and the great October Revolution took place on 7th November as per the original calendar. And therefore, we continue to get inspired from the Soviet Revolution and the formation of the first left-wing government in this state. And that even now inspires all the people of Kerala. Thank you. I wish you all success.
Thank you, sir. Sir, actually, I must say you are a crusader for working class and an inspiration for all law students and social workers. Thank you, sir, for the inspirational speech.